Reconnecting. Okay, this is why spanking is abuse. Okay, punishment was used. Was used. Researchers interviewed parents and children ages 3 to 7 from more than 100 families. Children who were physically punished were more likely to endorse hitting as a means of resolving their conflicts with peers and siblings. Parents who had experienced frequent physical punishment during their childhood were more likely to believe it was acceptable, and they frequently spanked their children. Their children, in turn, often believed spanking was an appropriate disciplinary method. The negative effects of physical punishment may not become apparent for some time. Durov says a child doesn't get spanked and then run out and rob a store. She says there are indirect changes in how the child thinks about things and feels about things. As in many areas of science, some researchers disagree about the about the validity of the studies on physical punishment. Robert Robert Laszlo's PhD, an Oklahoma State University professor who studies parents parental discipline, was a member of the APA task force who issued his own minority report because he disagreed with the scientific basis of the task force. Recommended recommended actions. Well, he agrees that parents should reduce their use of physical punishment. He says most of the cited studies are correctional and don't show a causal link between physical punishment and long-term negative effects for children. The studies do not discriminate well between non-abusive and overly severe types of corporal punishment. Lazarus says you get worse outcomes from corporal punishment than from alternative disciplinary techniques, only when it is used more severely or as is the primary discipline tactics. In a meta-analysis of 26 studies, Lazarus and a colleague found that an approach an approach they described as conditional spanking led to greater reductions in a child's defiance or antisocial behavior. Other 10 or 13 alternative discipline techniques, including reasoning, removal of privileges and timeouts, clinical, clinical and child family psychology reviews 2005. Lazaro defines conditional spanking as a discipline technique for 2 to 6-year-old children in which parents use two open-handed swats on the buttocks only after the child has defied milder discipline such as timeouts. Duroff says other studies on physical punishment have some shortcomings. Unfortunately, all the research on parent discipline is going to be get correctional because we can't randomly assign kids to parents for an experiment. But I don't think we have to disregard all research that has been done, she says. And I can just about count on one hand the studies that have found anything positive about physical punishment, and hundreds been that has been negative. Hundreds has been negative. Teaching new skills. If parents aren't supposed to hit their kids, what nonviolent techniques can help with discipline? The parent management on training programs headed for 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 Kazan and Yale is grounded in research and applied behavior analysis. The program teaches parents to use positive reinforcements and exclusive praise to reward children for good behavior. Kasdan also uses a technique that may sound like insanity to most parents telling toddlers to practice throwing a tantrum. Parents ask their children to have a pretend tantrum without one more desirable element, such as hitting or kicking, or gradually, as children practice controlling tantrums when they aren't angry, the real tantrums lessens cadences. Remaining calm during a child's tantrums is the best approach, coupled with timeouts and needed constant discipline. Okay, this one, and let's get back to the